Welcome back to the 202 Show, your favorite nerd culture talk show. I'm your host, Ryan Saber. It is time for the second 202 draft, second episode, second draft, because I love this game. So, the 202 draft is basically just like the NFL draft, NBA draft, MLB draft, or your local fantasy draft. We have a category, and we pick players, actors, characters based on that category. Last week we did the best MCU villains, best supervillain portrayals.
That's correct.
In movies and TV. This week our category is best quarterback prospects in the last 20 years. So I want to give an example of this. It's the same example I told Sean at this point 3 times in the last hour and sent it out in an email. So Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in football right now. Patrick Mahomes, coming out of the draft in 2017, was kind of a hit-or-miss prospect. Had a huge arm, didn't know about his decision-making skills, and his playbook was quote-unquote simple. He fell to number 10. Jamarcus Russell, in 2007, had a gigantic arm, had a huge frame, and was exactly what quarterbacks were supposed to look like in 2007, so he was a can't-miss prospect, quote-unquote. They missed. We are going to, in this 202 draft, list off from 1 to 12 who we feel are the best quarterback prospects coming out going into the NFL drafts since the year 2000. It's just going to be me and Sean because we are the two kind of draft nuts in the 202 squad, and Greenblatt is going to be standing by for color commentary. So, Sean, you have the first pick, and I know me and you kind of agreed that this is absolutely a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah.
So why don't we get to it? Oh, one more thing. We are going to be including future drafts.
Yep.
And by that, I mean the draft this year and the
next
draft
year.
Next year. Hint, hint.
I think we all know who we're talking about here.
Yeah, I think it might come up fairly early, too. All right.
Yep.
So, Sean, number 1.
Andrew Luck. I just read a comment somewhere. I remember reading this comment a while back. I don't know if you would agree with this, but I thought it was good. He was basically Peyton Manning and John Elway's body.
Yeah. Oh, completely.
He had
completely.
He had Peyton Manning's skills. He was an absolute stud at Stanford. And unlike Manning was a little bit huskier in a way. I mean, Elway was a little bit more, thinner, graceful, a little more muscular in a way, but I mean,
Elway was a crazy athlete too.
Elway was. You see some of the hits he took in the last Super Bowl he played when he was like, I don't know how old he was. He could still take it then, so he was just an incredible athlete. I thought Andrew Luck was too. The only thing I think he had a solid career in the NFL. The only thing that derailed him was derailed him. Was basically injuries. Obviously forced him to retire, and he's out. Is he even 30 yet?
I think he was either 29 or 30. Yeah, there was absolutely no doubt on this one.
Yeah.
Me and you came to a consensus before we started this. It's like, yeah, Andrew Luck's going to be number 1. And I've already mentioned it, saying this guy's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is the gold standard. You don't see that.
No.
And the 2 guys you mentioned, I think, were the gold standard before Andrew Luck, and that was John Elway and Peyton Manning. And in all seriousness, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf came out in 1998, and I think if they had come out past 2000, could qualify for this list, they would be up there in the top 2, in the top 4. Number 2 is a guy who we've been saying, I've already said it once on the show, and
literally
the media has been saying, and I think is a no-brainer, the best quarterback prospect that we've seen since Andrew Luck, who's not actually even coming out for another year, and that's Trevor Lawrence.
100%.
Trevor Lawrence came out of high school as the next big thing, and then went to Clemson, and everybody's like, oh, let's see what this kid can actually do. He's only a freshman, so he's not going to do that much, and lights the NCAA on fire.
Literally on fire.
Wins the national championship as a freshman, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's been done very many times.
No, it's very rare.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a stud, dude. Trevor Lawrence really is the best quarterback we've seen since Luck. He's got such a natural, fluent throwing motion. I don't think he was a baseball player, but his
Looks like he was.
Yeah, his throwing motion has a very baseball feel to it. He can move. He's athletic. He's smart. He's a leader. He's not a dickhead like Jameis Winston, Johnny Manziel.
One way of putting it.
Yeah, I really do believe in this kid, and I think there's going to be a team kind of hoping it's the Patriots, except like I said, I really think we have something instead of.
I kind of don't see him doing it either. I don't see Belichick just doing that.
Absolutely just tank, get number one, and I think Trevor Lawrence could come in just like Andrew Luck did and take an absolute nothing franchise and win 11 games in 1 year. I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence fan. I'm rooting for him, and what I really hope is going to be his last year in college. I hope he doesn't make the mistake of playing senior year. This kid is going to be the number one pick of the 2021 draft, and it's not even close.
He is
20. Hands down.
Yeah.
He literally didn't lose a game in college until literally the last championship game. I don't think he lost in high school either. Something like that. It was insane. Guy's a stud.
The kid's a stud, man. The kid's gonna whatever team he goes to is going to luck out. No pun intended.
100%.
Sean, number 3 picks to you.
I'm going with a bit of a dark horse. Well, not really dark horse. I would say Matt Ryan from BC. He was absolutely a stud at BC. I remember going to see him when he played there. By far the best quarterback prospect to come out of that school. It's not even close. Certainly in the last 20 years. It's not even close.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I remember the pride in 2008 being like, wow, Matt Ryan coming from BC.
Of all places.
Nice, man. Okay. Number 4. I'm going to be honest, not a traditional quarterback. In my opinion, the best natural athlete to ever play quarterback and probably the most fun prospect to watch and the best natural athlete prospect to come out of college at the quarterback position is Michael Vick.
That's absolutely.
I don't think there is any doubt, and this is a kind of a ballsy statement, but I stand by it. I don't think there is any doubt that if Michael Vick in Philadelphia, the adult, was playing in Michael Vick in Atlanta's body, looking at a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Michael Vick in Atlanta was a freak. If you're watching the NFL now and seeing Lamar Jackson, what Lamar Jackson can do, where he's just the fastest dude on the field and he's running by everybody, and you just visually see it like, damn, this dude is better than everybody else.
Yep.
That was Michael Vick in Atlanta. The difference is Lamar Jackson knew what the defense was doing because he studied. Michael Vick didn't study. He was having a great time. Michael Vick in 2001 was just nasty.
Still to this day, the greatest, one of the, just the other day on Twitter, there's a big, a big debate going on. What is the biggest athlete cheat code in any video game? And
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick and Madden 04 was the number one answer.
Oh, and it's not even close. Except
there were a few other ones that were pretty close.
I will say, and you're going to think I'm nuts, and you're going to think, oh, well, it's just because it's recent in the game now. Patrick Mahomes is really fun to play with, but that's a different argument. Sean, number 5 to you.
Number 5. I think I'm going to go. I'm not as good as draft as you are, so I went through this list and I went with what I kind of knew, and I went with pretty good pick. I thought he was pretty good. Was Matthew Stafford at Georgia.
Yeah,
he was something at Georgia, and there was a reason why he went so high in the draft. Obviously, he had an arm. He could just do it a lot of.
Oh, he had a bazooka. He had a bazooka.
Yeah, his arm was ridiculous.
Maybe not Patrick Mahomes. No, I would argue Matthew Stafford had an arm equal to Patrick Mahomes coming out of college. The difference is Patrick Mahomes could do more with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Matthew Stafford had to have his feet set and could just let the thing go. Patrick Mahomes could do it from all kinds of angles. Dude, Matthew Stafford was a freak. Matthew Stafford, you hear stories about as like a sixth grader was throwing the ball like 50 yards.
Yeah, he was
Like, you hear these weird Bo Jackson legend stories about
basically
Matthew Stafford.
quarterback version of Bo in a lot of ways. He
Yeah.
has an arm.
He really was. It was just nuts. Let's talk about another number one overall pick, and a guy that actually had a little bit of controversy surrounding him when he came out of college. And I know I already mentioned his brother in this segment because his brother being the number one pick in the 1998 draft, and arguably, in my opinion, the number 3 greatest quarterback of all time. But of course, the number 6 best quarterback prospect to come out in the last 20 years, in my opinion, is Eli Manning. Eli Manning, coming out of Ole Miss in 2004, was the surefire number 1 pick. First of all, he had the Manning last name, which I think in his career helped him a lot.
Helped him. Oh, yeah.
And I, in all honesty, think it's going to help him 5 years from now when people are talking about him going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I think the name Manning is going to help him. Eli, of course, won 2 Super Bowls, but that's not the argument we're having. We're talking coming out of college, and coming out of college, Eli Manning was a stud. Mm-hmm. He was a very accurate passer, put up very good numbers at Ole Miss, and of course, had a very, very, very strong arm. In all honesty, I would argue that on their best day, Eli had a stronger arm than Peyton. Wasn't as accurate, wasn't as smart with it, but Eli could shoot the thing.
Shuck it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, all you have to do is look at the pass that still makes me cry, where he's basically lopsided, being pulled down, throws the ball to David Tyree at an awkward arm angle. Man, Eli Manning had a cannon.
I'm having, more flashbacks from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, when he came out, he didn't want to go to the Chargers, so the Chargers traded him to the Giants for Philip
fourth pick.
And the pick that would end up becoming Sean Merriman the next year. So worked out for both sides. Number 7, Sean, balls to you.
All right, number 7, I'm gonna go with. This is a quarterback from a school that I hate because I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I picked Carson Palmer from USC.
Ooh, nice.
Carson Palmer. I actually saw a few weeks ago when I think it was during the weekend, they had a quarterback football life marathon, and he was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, was he good. I thought he was one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He wasn't great. He was pretty good. I mean, he also had to deal with a lot of injuries, and he played for the Bengals, so that didn't help. But in college at USC, he was filthy. And that USA team was just incredible. He had an arm. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt that Carson Palmer would have had a much better NFL career had he not gone to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Not been coached by Marvin Lewis, just saying.
I like Marvin Lewis. I thought Marvin Lewis was a good coach. I think it's the owner and the GM that sucked.
That's oh God, Mike Brown's probably the worst GM owner, whatever in football. Well, actually, besides Snyder.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's up there.
All right,
in the top 3.
Number 8 is a guy who we've already talked about on this show, and I'm now looking at this list and thinking, God, we should have put him higher, and that's Cam Newton.
Yeah. Oh my God, he was so huge coming out of Auburn.
Cam Newton was a beast coming out of Auburn. I don't think.
Let him win a national title.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen something like Cam Newton coming out of Auburn. The only reason I think he's at number 8 and not further up is because he could not hit the broadside of a barn. But as I've expressed with Josh Allen, and I've used this analogy with Josh Allen a billion times talking about him, especially when we had our radio show talking about he was 18, right? Talking about the 18 draft.
Yeah.
Josh Allen could not hit the broadside of a barn, but if he did hit it, he would put a hole in it.
Oh, yeah. He had
Cam Newton coming out of college was the same way. Cam could run. Cam could throw. Cam was just an absolute monster. He was like a defensive end playing quarterback.
Exactly.
Who was the one who said that? It was whoever the Rams defense coordinator was in that All or Nothing show.
I know what you're talking about. I forgot his name, though.
What's his name? The Bounty Gate guy. Greg Williams.
Oh,
Greg Williams.
yep. Greg
Cam
Williams.
Newton's a defensive end playing quarterback. Cam was a beast. And like I said, the only reason I think he's so far down the list is because he wasn't the passer that Carson Palmer, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan, Michael Vick, I think was still a better passer.
Yeah.
I think Cam Newton, Michael Vick could throw the ball, and I don't think people remember that because they're like, whoa.
Always seeing him run here.
Yeah, but he was also kind of like John Elway, too.
Had a heck of an arm, man.
Yeah, Cam at number 8, and like I said, he probably should be higher. It's just I don't think he had that great of a passing arm. I think he had a bazooka, but he
wasn't accurate.
Put the ball in tight spaces. Sean, balls to you, number 9.
Number 9, I'm also going a little bit back to when I was probably around 10 or 11. Texas quarterback Vince Young.
Nice.
He had that game against USC in the national championship game. He could do it all. He could throw. He could run. Ran in the winning touchdown. He was one of the biggest names, the touted names to come into the draft and whatnot. And he actually wasn't. He had a good year or two in the pros. It just didn't work out. But
yeah, he won Rookie of the Year.
He won Rookie of the Year. But I mean, it's in Texas. That was probably the last time Texas was really relevant, to be honest.
And the only note I will say with Vince Young is he was very similar to Cam, and he wasn't a great passer.
Oh, no. But
first of all, I remember so he won MVP, not MVP. He won Rookie of the Year in 06. I remember being 10 years old, 1996, and hearing everybody say, wow, Vince Young throws like a girl. And it had nothing to do with the making fun of girls. It's that girls not saying this is true at all, but there's the idea that girls threw like this, and Vince Young had the throwing motion where he would just kind of go like that.
Yeah, he just flipped. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I remember watching that and being like, wow, I don't like this. Why am I uncomfortable watching this?
Didn't work out in the end.
Yeah, didn't work out in the NFL. He didn't have a great arm. He wasn't very accurate, but he was an amazing runner, and kind of like Tom Brady, where he wasn't the most talented, just managed to get it done. And he got it done in college probably more than any other quarterback in recent memory, aside from Tim Tebow.
Yep.
Yeah, Vince Young was a stud. Number 10, I'm actually going to pick the only guy. Oh, well, Matt Ryan wasn't number 1. Matt Ryan was number 3. But I'm picking the only one on this list who wasn't the first quarterback taken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Carson Wentz in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Carson Wentz, of course, fell behind. Jared Goff went number 2 to the Eagles, where Jared Goff went to the Rams. Neither of those things worked out poorly for either of them. I think they're both pretty happy with where they landed.
I think it worked out well.
And one is with Sean McVay. So they're both pretty happy.
To a Super Bowl, so.
Carson Wentz arguably could have won it, was probably going to win MVP in 2017 if he didn't get injured.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason he went number 2 is because he came out of North Dakota State.
Yep, that's exactly why.
And Jared Goff came out of Cal. Carson Wentz was a absolute monster. He's a big dude. He's 6'5". I think he probably came out at something like 225, had a cannon for an arm, super accurate arm, can move around the pocket, can make throws on the run, and put up some really good stats at North Dakota State. Once again, the argument, he plays for North Dakota State. So the argument, of course, being, well, the talent he played there doesn't compare to the talent in the NFL, and Jared Goff played in the Pac-12, which really isn't that much better, but we'll let it be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carson Wentz at number 10, man. I think it worked out really, really well, and I think he was an absolute stud.
He was ridiculous in college.
Yeah. Number 11, your last pick.
My last pick. Ooh, just looking down at the list. I'm going to go with another big prospect that was touted coming out of college. Let's put it this way, didn't quite work out in the NFL, and that was Sam Bradford at Oklahoma.
Oh, you took mine.
Did I really?
Yeah.
I saw another one on the list I thought you were going to take. But, Sam Bradford was huge coming out of Oklahoma when he got drafted.
Dude, I was a huge Sam Bradford OU guy.
Yeah, Oklahoma. That was a good team when he led it.
Oklahoma was my first college football team that I actually liked and actually followed, and it was single-handedly because of Sam Bradford.
Oh yeah, 100%.
My sixth grade teacher was my sixth grade English teacher, mind you. That was middle school, so multiple subjects. He was a huge Oklahoma fan, and that was the year Sam Bradford won the Heisman.
Yep.
So I was in that class, and he would wear his Oklahoma Adrian Peterson jersey
Oh, that's right.
every Friday. Of course, he wore it under something, but he'd show us.
Yeah.
That was a weird motion. But dude, Sam Bradford, OU. The big knock on him was, of course, the injuries. His last 2 seasons, he got injured after winning the Heisman Trophy.
Yep.
Had one great Rookie of the Year season, and then got to the point where it's like, oh God, this man gets injured, opening up his car door.
Is he even on a team right now?
Huh?
Is he even on a team right now?
No, he retired a couple of years ago.
Did he? I couldn't remember.
He went to the Vikings. He went to Philly.
Started out in St. Louis.
He started out with St. Louis, went to Philly, might have gone to the Vikings.
He did.
Maybe that was just a Madden franchise I created. I don't know.
No, I thought he did. I don't know if he played, though. Or he definitely didn't last.
Yeah, Sam Bradford, great player. Didn't work out in the NFL, but great college prospect.
Oh, he was ridiculous in college.
Number 12 for me. This is going to be arguably the biggest draft bust of all time. And I already mentioned it once, and that's Jamarcus Russell. Oh, buddy, Jamarcus Russell.
Completely did it to himself.
Yeah, he really did. If you didn't hear Sean, because I know his audio just cut out, he did really do it to himself. This guy who slept through meetings, of course, my favorite story is one of the coaches of the Raiders gave DeMarcus a DVD and said, these are all the new plays we're going to install. Go home, watch them, and come back and tell us what you think. And he came back, and the coach said, Jamarcus, what do you think of the DVD? What do you think of all the plays? And he's like, oh, don't worry, coach. I liked all the plays. I'll run them. And the coach said, Jamarcus, it was a blank DVD. That explains how Jamarcus Russell did in the pros. But at LSU, he did really, really good. Had a cannon arm, great mobility, great footwork, and it just didn't work out in the NFL. But number 1 pick in the 2007 draft, of course, the biggest mistake Al Davis has ever made, and there are a bunch of them. There are a bunch of them.
Basically, you could say Russell just ate himself out of the league, like literally. Yeah,
ended up becoming, I think, close to 300 pounds in his last season with the Raiders, which I think was 2009.
That's correct.
My head, it was 2009.
I think so, yeah.
I know Sean and I were talking about this before, but let me just go over to the 2007 draft and talk about some of the guys who were taken after Jamarcus Russell. Nope, that's 2007 NBA draft. That doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Raiders fan, you cringe.
So in the first round of the 2007 NFL draft, Jamarcus Russell was the first pick. Mm-hmm. Calvin Johnson was the second pick, Hall of Famer. Joe Thomas was the third pick, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
LaRon Landry was the sixth pick, very good player, not a Hall of Famer.
No.
Adrian Peterson was the seventh pick, Hall of Famer.
100%.
Yep.
Regardless
Patrick Willis was the 11th pick, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Marshawn Lynch was the 12th pick, Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Darrelle Revis was the 14th pick, Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Lawrence Timmons was the 15th pick, very good player.
Very good.
Reggie Nelson, 21 to Jacksonville, had a better career with the Bengals, but very good player.
Still turned out good, yep.
Anthony Spencer, just wrapping this up a little bit quicker. Dwayne Bowe, Brandon Merriweather, John Beeson, and Anthony Spencer, all very good players.
Brandon Merriweather.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Joe Staley, number 28, potentially a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Greg Olson, number 31. I'm going to skip the very good players and just go to Hall of Famers. Greg Olson, number 31, potentially a Hall of Famer. Eric Weddle, number 37, potentially a Hall of Famer. Yep. Lamar Woodley, number 46, potentially, I don't know about that, but very, very good player. And Ryan Khalil, number 59, potentially a Hall of Famer. Oh, here's another good one. Number 86 in the third round, Marshall Yanda, Hall of Famer. Jerome Bushrod in the fourth round, good player. Ron McClain, fourth round, good player. All of these guys, Nick Folk,
Nick
Sixth-round
Folk.
pick kicker would have been a better pick than Jamarcus Russell.
That's pretty bad.
So
Yeah.
once again, to wrap all this up, Jamarcus Russell, number 12 best prospect of the 2000s and 2010s, best quarterback prospect, that is. And the Oakland Raiders could have had Marshall Yanda, Ryan Khalil, Lamar Woodley, Eric Weddle, Reggie Nelson, Joe Staley, Ben Grubbs, Darrell Revis, Marshawn Lynch, Patrick Willis, Adrian Peterson, Joe Thomas, or Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, they
So,
royally messed that one up.
as I said, biggest mistake Al Davis has ever made.
What a biggest draft bust ever.
Oh, I don't know about that. Ryan Leaf, though. That's
No, I said one of. I said one of.
There you go. All
There
right.
we go. That's better.